We're going to move right along to VC landscape in Russia. How is it changing? Marina Treshchova, CEO and co-founder of Fast Lane Ventures, a Russian company focused on building internet businesses. Founded in 2010, she's already launched 18 internet businesses. Recently awarded Equity Gap Fund of the Year, and by Forbes, the #2 investor in Russia as of last year. Marina, are you here, coming onto the stage? Fantastic. Let's have a round of applause, folks. Take it away, Marina.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to tell you a little bit about Fast Lane Ventures. What is today the landscape of the venture capital in Russia, and what are the trends which we've seen over the past 2.5 years, what's changed and what we're looking forward to moving forward in this space today. 2.5 years ago, myself with 2 other partners, we decided to launch Fast Lane Ventures, actually with the primary idea of building internet startups in Russia. For the last 15 years, we've been involved in a lot of different businesses in Russia, mostly in the consumer space, in different industries, including internet. But we saw the tremendous opportunities which Russia offered at that time. We saw the momentum in time and decided that it's right to form the company, the group which offers the platform for developing internet startups in Russia, and investing as well in the companies which we launch or the entrepreneurs who come to us and want to do business together with us. As a result of these 2.5 years, it's 20 companies, $80 million which invested in the companies, all in internet space, 2 first exits, and quite a big success or good development for some of the portfolio companies today. Why did we choose Russia? Or why is Russia today interesting for the investors? I think it starts really from the country's development. So I think today it's really one of the few countries in the world where you see the gross domestic product growing from 10 times for the past 10 years. And this is something which really attracts a lot of investors because they see the amazing opportunity which the country can offer. Not only this, why we wanted to go into internet space is that Russia today has over 60 million internet users, active users, and over the next 3 years, the recent studies shows that it will be at least double the figure. So it's not actually, the recent study of Deutsche Bank shows that it will be close to 110 million active users in the internet. So these 2 factors are already quite interesting for a lot of investors, both from foreign countries, mostly from Europe today, and for Russian investors. But this is not, I think, only the size of the market and the growth potential is not really enough. And I think that in order to be really successful with investments in Russia, you want to make sure that there is a good ecosystem which exists there. So 2.5 years ago, there was practically nothing, so for a lot of startups or entrepreneurs which we've seen when we were looking at the investment committee was pretty much people who didn't know what they want to do, what type of the company they want to see in 3-5 years, what is business plan. None of them understood what's business angels or really any type of the VC is about. Today, it's actually quite a lot of things have been improved. We see a lot of government initiatives which help people really be trained and understand what is venture capital is about, what is innovation, what is technologies, and what you want to do with your business in 3-5 year period of time. We see a lot of new VCs which are coming to Russia. It's both foreign VCs. We've heard a lot today that Russia, among BRIC countries, is not only Russia, but really generally, BRIC countries offer a lot of opportunities for investors, more returns. So of course, that also helps more and more entrepreneurs to launch companies as they see the potential of the potential for investments in their companies. We saw a lot of Russian VCs, Russian new funds being formed during this period of time. So it's close to 20-25 new funds which have been created at the matter of just these 2 years in Russia, from $20 million to $150 million. A lot of them really purely looking in internet space, especially in consumer internet space. And of course, some of the initiatives are being done on even an educational level. So we see, of course, Skolkovo initiatives, a lot of the education about the startup, entrepreneurship, and the technology space. So all of these things which really do help to build much more stronger ecosystem today in Russia. To understand for us mostly, but it actually turned out to be a rather good study, Fastlane Ventures decided to analyze the number of deals and number of investments done in the Russian internet space for the past 2 years because there wasn't really anything available and there wasn't enough transparency in the space. So as a result of this, what we saw is that the number of investments increased 2 times between 2010 and 11. So growing from $1.2 billion, including the public offerings, so IPOs of 2 big companies, to $2.2 billion in 2011. What's interesting there that most of this, the increase was really driven by seed investments, or very early stage business angel investments, early stage investments. Much more deals were done during that period of time, so that's almost triple. Which showed that most of the investments were really in the seed stage. And this is what I think really quite important trend which we see today. So a lot of really, say business angels, early stage, seed stage funds which invest at the beginning. But then the hardest thing today on the Russian market is actually try to find the money on the round A, round B financing for many startups because it's still quite a risky stage. And yet, at the same time, even if you do have a lot of the investors today on the Russian market, for example, here today, there's quite a few funds which are from Russia. They all say that it's difficult for them to find right deals today. So there is really still, we see that even though at the seed stage there seems to be the problem is solved, so startups can find money and money can find startups, it still is an issue at the later stage. Because most of the investors really still don't find the right opportunities, professional companies, good traction, which companies can show execution after they've really launched the company, and then they can prove that monetization is there, the traction is there, so the business can really take off. We also saw that most, of course, of the financing attracted was in the bigger rounds. It's just few companies which we have on the Russian market today that have attracted quite big amount of cash from, ranging from 50 to 100 million US dollars, but it's still a very, very limited number, of course, because it does take time to develop business to this stage. I think one more, I would say, last thing which I want to say about Russian space today. I think that the most interesting situation which we see also, because of course, we've heard today from Noah that it's good to launch the company and really think about potential exit at one stage. I think this is something which is still to be really worked quite a bit on in Russia. Most of the local Russian bigger groups, bigger media groups, are not ready yet for considering acquisitions. So this is something which is a challenge, I think, for the Russian internet scene or internet ecosystem, is to really help also the bigger groups understand that there is a value in the local internet companies, and it's much better decision to consider potential acquisitions at one stage of development rather than to continue growing all of the services or all of the businesses within their own resources. So these are things which still, for those who work on that space, is something which we have to all together work as a VC community, as an internet startup community. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye.